What's going on, people? Welcome back to the opposition preview, and this time we've got Newcastle. Yes, after that 5-2 win, it's not stopping. Next in line is you, Newcastle. And I'm joined by Pete from the Loaded Mag NUFC channel. Make sure to check it out. The link will be in the description down below. As always, there's some great content there, and I'm pretty sure he's done opposition preview, probably with Rich from Eagle Eye Football as well, because unfortunately, as you can tell from my background, I'm not at home. I am abroad for quite a while, so my availability ain't that great. But look, enough of that, Pete, man. Before we start, it's been a while. It's been a while, man, because of course you're stuck in the race for Europe lives. You know, we don't have that privileges around here. It's mid-table mediocrity. But this season, to be fair, Pete, it's been funny. As a neutral looking at Newcastle, not funny in terms of I've been laughing at Newcastle, but it's been a funny season based on what happened last season to this season. Am I right in saying expectations haven't been met by some Newcastle fans? Maybe from you it has, but some Newcastle fans wanted more.
Yeah. Look, it goes with the achievements, bro. You know, when you hit Champions League football, there will be some sections of the fan base that kind of want it every year. And I have to be honest, if you were talking to me in September, I thought with the signings that we had, with the current squad that we had available, I actually thought we could be competitive again. And you know what? It's kind of reigned true. And I'll go on to that in a second. But you're right. It's been an up and down season, like Champions League football, like back after 20 years, fourth in the league season before. And it's like we were up for it. And to be fair, we didn't start too badly. We started to kick up form in October, and then all of a sudden, like injuries just hit. And October, November, December in particular were absolute killers for us. We struggled to get back into it. And I've got to be honest, if you were to ask me even as recent as like end of February, I'd have said like Europe, like we got no chance. Like catching Man United in sixth, nah, it ain't happening. We're sitting in 10th in the table. But this is why you got to stick behind your manager, D. This is why you got to back him regardless, because what he's done, he's got players back fit, but what he's got is doing is playing a different type of football than we've played previously that's getting results. And not just getting results, we are blamming teams. You watch that against Spurs, we absolutely blam them, and they've been lauded like all season is this like top tier team and like manager of the year credentials. And we just absolutely wiped the floor with them. And they had a full strength squad. We had 11 players at that game. So, you know, it just goes to show what could have been. And I genuinely believe had we had a full strength squad all season, would have been where Aston Villa are right now. I'm convinced of it.
Wow. So for those that don't watch Newcastle, what is the Newcastle then? Like, what can we expect on Wednesday night? Because the Spurs game, I watched it. In terms of possession, you don't keep that much of the ball, but you are effective. You are, on the counter, you're way more direct. Is that the new Newcastle that we should be looking out for then?
Well, that's the evolution that I've been asking of Eddie Howe, and to be like he's had his kind of set formation this season, a 4-3-3, high intensity, high press, like literally what we did to get fourth in the league. But we had pretty much a full strength squad last season to do it. We've had to change tact because we haven't had the players available. We've still been able to do this with 11 players still out. And for me, it was against Wolves right at the beginning of March that really kind of tipped it in Newcastle's favour, because we went to more of a counter-attacking style. We said to the opposition, right, you have the ball, but we know that if we get the ball, we've got players that can absolutely hurt you on the break. And we did that against Wolves. And we've continued to do it. We did it against West Ham. We did it against Fulham. And we did it against Spurs. And it's working. And we've got the setup now. It might not be the players that you'd expect to be starting and playing really well, but they are doing everything that Eddie Howe wants. And we are
Would you say that Newcastle are dangerous right now going into this game then?
Yeah. I would. I said we're definitely a dangerous team. Like when you've got one of the best strikers in the Premier League, probably in Europe, in Alexander Isak, you've got to be dangerous. 18 goal contributions from Anthony Gordon. Nobody thought that was going to happen, and he's doing it. And he's got his England recognitions, and he is in lightning form at the moment. We've finally got Harvey Barnes back. Like we've barely seen him all season. £38 million signing, barely seen him, but now he's back. He's making a difference. That front three, like they are there to put teams to the sword, and in recent weeks they've been doing that.
So let's quickly talk about your thoughts on Palace. We've had you on the channel a few times, so if you want to go back and watch all the sports from back then to now, it could be interesting. It's probably going to be different. Oliver Glasner comes in, Roy Hodgson leaves. Results-wise, it wasn't that great at the start, but despite that, I was not upset because I saw progression in terms of style of play. Recently, the results have been there. Liverpool win, Newcastle win as well as the performances. But for you as a neutral, what have you made of Palace?
You know what? I've looked at Palace as had a bit of an up and down season themselves. Like I always see you guys as a team that can be, regardless of your situation, they've got players that can be fighting for that mid part of the table. Like whether it's the top end of that middle part or whether it's kind of the bottom end of that middle part. But for at times this season, you've kind of like been underwhelming, if I'm honest with you, and maybe that's changed slightly. I've seen a more attacking sort of potent Crystal Palace recently, not afraid to kind of put teams to the sword, not afraid to attack, not afraid to really kind of go at teams, where you've always been kind of like under Roy Hodgson, a bit more reserved, a bit more worried about conceding goals than you were about scoring them. And I think, look, I think Sunday's absolute proof of that. I've got to be honest. I was out and I was seeing the scores flashing up. I thought
it must be like bugging or something. Yeah, this can't be real. Palace scored 5 goals in a game. They've scored like 5 goals all season. You must be thinking, what's going on?
I weren't complaining. I was laughing. I was rubbing my hands together because we want West Ham down there. They're fighting with this European spot. So I was just 100%. like, keep it coming. And then it was kind of like, keep it coming. I was like, shit.
We've got what's going on? All right, keep it coming, but what is actually going on with this Palace side? Yeah,
but no, like
I couldn't watch the game because I was traveling. And it's what a game to miss. Like I can watch all the other games under Roy, and then this game I missed. But no, I got to see the Liverpool game under Glasner, and I was happy about that. But yeah, I agree. We have changed. But you know what's funny? You've mentioned that Newcastle have changed their style of football, and Palace have as well. But in a way, it does sound similar to what we want to do. I mean, it's not like we're going to sit back for 90 minutes. We know when to press, but we're not going to be pressing for 90 minutes. We have our moments of the game or triggers where we press as a team, and it's very effective. So in terms of that style of play where we want to kind of, soak up the pressure and press you at the right moments and then try hit you on a counter-attack, does that football suit Newcastle? Because ideally you want us to be attacking you and then leaving spaces open behind, right?
Yeah, well, so that's exactly what we want. We want you to have the ball. I would, the way we've been playing recently, I would fully expect Newcastle United to go, right, you're the home team, you have the ball, you try break us down. And then defensively, although we've conceded a lot of goals over the course of this season, more than last season, like recently we've been quite good defensively. And then it's about, right, quick transitions into the play. Can we get the ball forward? Can we get it to Gordon? Can we get it to Barnes? Can we get it in and behind to Isak like we did against Spurs? And I genuinely believe that if we play that way, we can beat pretty most teams in the Premier League doing that. Absolutely.
What if we let you keep the ball? Then what happens? Like, have you faced teams that have kind of let you keep the ball in these run of games, and how have you faced those teams? Have you got like the results and the performances haven't matched?
Well, I would say recently we haven't been doing that, but when we have previously, earlier sort of in the season, we've been caught. We have been caught, and in particular, it's that midfield. Like when we played a 4-3-3 with that midfield, we can get caught in and behind, particularly anyone that's lurking in that sort of number 10 position. Because we have Bruno that plays as that number 6, but he's not a defensive number 6. He's not what I call a ball breaker that like breaks up play, wins the ball, distributes it. He's a more of a controller. He gets the ball and dominates possession. So if someone exploits that number 10 area, which we have had teams do previously this season. That's a hole that we struggle to fill. But to be fair, a little bit like I think you guys have, because your setup was slightly different. I think you played with 3 centre backs or like a back
we do.
three.
We play 3. So we play depending on in position, out possession, but in in possession, it's going to be 3 at the back, out possession 5 at the back.
Well, we did the same against Tottenham. So we sort of played like a 3 at the back. And then we had sort of our fullbacks playing as sort of like wing backs, midfield in as a tight 2. And then we sort of had the Barnes, Isak, and Gordon as that 3 and changed in transition. So it was really interesting to see the style. So for me, I'm really intrigued as a Newcastle fan how we're going to set up, because I'm thinking, are we going to go and do the same again, or are we going to?
That's why I asked, because it'll be very interesting to see who wants the other team to keep the ball. Like I genuinely saying that what should be like 3-0 Newcastle, but I think it could be a nice tactical battle. It could be a tight game. It could be a tight game for both sides. I don't know how Palace will counter that, but I think I know how we will set up. But with Newcastle, it'll be interesting to see whether you would playing away from home. We've got kind of momentum now as well. The fans are actually looking forward to the game, so it shouldn't be as easy at Selhurst Park. And we'll see what Newcastle have, because Newcastle been on fire. But you mentioned 2 players, and I just want to quickly touch on them: Anthony Gordon and Isak. I haven't even asked about any players, but you mentioned them because, in particular, they've been balling out. They've been fantastic, especially Isak. He's been rumored to join other clubs. How do we stop those 2? Is it like have teams try to double team them? Is it what is it that's made them so great recently?
Honestly, it's not even about them just being great recently. It's about them, more so Isak, staying fit and actually getting up to full fitness and sharpness. He's now at that stage, and now we're seeing what he's truly capable of. But I'll be honest with you, like, it's not really easy to stop him. And the reason being is because he's not your traditional number 9 hold up kind of battling with a centre-back type of forward. Like, he'll drift into wide areas. He'll drift within the pockets. He'll come deep to receive the ball. So he's quite hard to mark. The one thing I'll say is you can't let him cut back onto his right foot, because he'll kill you every time. Like, we've seen it in recent
years. He likes that move as well. He likes that move. And he's been dropping plays. I've seen players drop to the ground like they're getting shot by snipers, but it's Isak's right foot. And the story against Tottenham, Van der Ven, he was I don't know, he was up in the crowd, but it seemed like he kept getting shot. He fell down like 2-3 times. But then again, it was Isak. And that cutting, it sounds so easy, but it's so hard to stop. And he's been on fire like that. And Anthony Gordon as well. And I guess you have to give a bit of credit to the manager as well, trying getting the best out of these players.
Oh, 100%. Like Eddie Howe has been in for criticism, as we talked about earlier. Massive criticism, and particularly around the turn of the year, because the results weren't good enough. We were losing, like, Luton away, Forest at home, Boxing Day, and they were games we were expecting to win. Like, they were really poor results. Then we had, at the end of January, early February, you had the likes of Luton, was it 4-4 at home? We drew to Bournemouth at home 2-2. Again, you take those results; they're results we expect to win, and if we'd have won them, we're in a Champions League battle. Like, and this is the point that I'm making, is that we've had results early on in the season where we were really struggling with injuries. That full strength team, we turn those teams over, and it looks very, very different. But with Eddie Howe, I've always said it with him, he needs to evolve his managerial ability. This is the highest he's ever managed at in terms of the level. Like, he's never managed any higher than this. Fighting for Champions League season. Like,
and it's quite high. Like, I don't know how much. Bro. There's a level above him, but it's very hard to reach that level. Like, this is very high to manage in this level.
But he needs to evolve in this, in its decision making, its tactical awareness for certain games that we play against. But we're starting to see that now. We're starting to see him change tactics and play a certain way based on the team we're going to play against. That's what the top managers do. And this is the thing. This is why he deserves credit, because we question, can he evolve? Well, he's starting to. So we can't argue with that. And he's getting results off the back of it.
Talk to me, Pete. Score predictions. You've been talking about evolving. You've been talking about Gordon, Isak. You have to back your boy, surely.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Look, let's be honest. Like, we haven't got a great record at Selhurst Park. We haven't against Palace over the years. I've only think, it must be like a good few years ago that we last won. But I think the form that we're in, I do think that we can get a result. It won't be easy though, and I'm going to say it's going to be a tight result. So I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle win.
Oh, no way. Because I've been thinking that as well but for Palace, not for Newcastle. Don't get twisted. For Palace, I think it's going to be a tight game, but I can see it be 2-1 Palace because we've got Eze there, Elise, and I think those two, we saw their form. I think that's how we scored those 5 goals. On top of that, Pete, Mateta is crazy, but he's been on form. I think he scored more goals than Haaland so far this calendar year, which is crazy. And he's got 9 goals now in the Premier League, very close to 10, which is for his levels. A lot of people doubted him, including me. It's been he's getting fed by Eze, Elise, left, right, centre, and he's been scoring goals as well. So I think our front three should be dangerous, as well as our wing backs, Munoz, which I don't think have you faced Munoz yet?
No.
When did we last face you? You haven't. Yeah, you haven't.
We
got a new right wing back.
Yeah, we played you
out there, which always used to be a target.
Was it October? Might have been October time, early November. I think we played you at St James's.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, around that time. Yeah, around that time. So yeah, look, we got some new players, new manager. I have to back my boys. You can't. There's no way I can't back Palace after 5-2 win. But let us know in the comment section down below your score predictions. As always, if you have enjoyed it, like, subscribe. Make sure to check out Loaded Mag NUFC and also Pete's socials. That's it from me and Pete. And until next time, up the Palace.